Hello and welcome to another session of our English lessons and welcome back actually to my YouTube channel. In this session I'm going to teach you a great course book in the field of reading comprehension, advanced reading. So based on for and against, as you can see, in this session I'm going to teach you Unit 20 about examinations from this course book. Before starting, let me show you the flashcards here. Devise means to think up, invent, create. And mortal means deadly. Let me reduce magnification. Again, I have to reduce. Yeah, it means deadly or killing. And next is vicious, means ill-tempered, means actually wicked. And the next word is utter. As a verb means to speak. As an adjective that has been used here means complete, thorough. Under duress means by force, when you do something because somebody else has forced you and you do not do it, let's say based on your free will. Okay, that's it. Now let me increase magnification. Okay. Examinations exert a pernicious influence on education. So, exert means wield. 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 Power or authority. Okay. Pernicious means so negative, unpleasant, aggressive influence on education, so it does not impose a good influence or effect on education. We might marvel at means wonder. It means surprised or shocked at the progress made in every field of study. So we have progressed, we have made a great progress actually in everything, but the methods of testing a person's knowledge and ability remains as primitive as ever they were. So we have not made great progress in testing and measuring a person's true ability, because examinations are not really successful in that. It really is extraordinary that after all these years, educationists, it is British English, and in American English we call it educators, have still failed to devise anything more efficient, reliable or resourceful than examinations. It is ironic to say that after so many years, educators or educationists have not been able to invent or create another way except examinations in order to reflect competency. Let me write it down. Competence means let's say natural or let's say real ability or true ability of the students, about expertise, for example, knowledge, knack. Expertise. Okay. For all the pious claims, remember, pious claims are those claims that pretend to be good, but they are not. They are insincere, not accurate. That examinations test what you know. It means that they claim that they test what you know, but in actuality they don't. They cannot do that. It is common knowledge that they more often do the exact opposite. because it is a pious claim. It's not a true or, let's say, honest claim. Okay. They may be a good means. Pay attention, means is not a plural word. It is singular. That's why we have a. It's not a good method for testing memory. Yes, it is. It is a good method for testing memory because we have parrot learning. We write it. Parrot learning or rote learning as opposite to, let's say, in opposition to deep learning, okay, or meaningful learning. Okay, so the students are forced to memorize everything, or the knack of working, means the skill of working rapidly under extreme pressure, because there is a very important examination and they have to study for that. But they can tell you nothing about a person's true ability or competence, as I said, and aptitude. Aptitude again means, let's say, skillfulness, and competence, and faculty, and let's say talent or giftedness. As anxiety makers, because they make you anxious. Let me write it down. They make you anxious. That's why they are anxiety makers. Examinations are second to none. So the subject of this structure, this phrase refers back to examination. So examinations make you anxious, and therefore actually there is nothing more anxiety makers than examinations. So examinations are sufficient to make you anxious. That is because so much depends on them. That's true. For example, your future career depends on a certificate that you get after passing the examinations. They are the mark of success or failure in your society. So they determine your success or failure. Your whole future may be decided in one fateful day. Fateful means decisive. Decisive, influential, substantial day, and that day refers to the day of the examination. It doesn't matter, it's not important that you weren't feeling very well, for example, for some reasons actually you are not in a good mood, or that your mother died or passed away. Doesn't matter, they don't care about that. Little things like that don't count. It means that these things are not taken into consideration. The exam goes on. It goes on. It continues. No one can give you no one can give off his best. It means nobody can perform well to the fullest degree or extent when he is in mortal terror, in horror, or fear that is so deadly and, let's say, agonizing and painful, and it just incapacitates you. Or after a sleepless night, because the night before the examination you cannot have enough sleep because you are under the pressure of stress. Yet this is precisely what the examination system expects him to do, the person that is the candidate. According to this part, examination system wants to stress you or put you under stress. The moment a child begins school, he enters a world of vicious competition. So it's not based on cooperation but competition. Cooperation and competition are opposite. So vicious competition, you can say fierce competition, fierce, or rat race, or stiff competition. Okay, where success and failure are clearly defined and measured, means estimated. Okay, can we wonder or marvel at the increasing number of dropouts, Remember, drop out refers to a person who quits education or school or university. That person abandons education. Young people who, for example, Bill Gates, in the middle of, let's say, founding Microsoft, he just quit Harvard University, but after just becoming one of the, or perhaps the richest man in the world, actually he went back and completed his education and got his PhD. Okay, who are written off, so young people who are written off as utter failure before they have been before they have even embarked on a career. So this is a kind of rhetorical question. So young people who are written off, who are labeled, who are called complete failure. Complete failure. Utter means sheer, S-H-E-E-R, or complete failure. Before they have even embarked on. Embark on means start. Commence. Commence or start a career. It's not fair. Can we be surprised at the suicide rate among students? Yeah, we should be surprised. We should be shocked or appalled, okay, by a high number of people who commit suicide or kill themselves. A good education should, among other things, train you to think for yourself. It should teach you or educate you to think about yourself very clearly, to make you independent. The examination system does anything but that, and that refers to this task, training yourself to think for yourself. What has to be learned is rigidly laid down by a syllabus. It means everything is controlled, laid down, controlled or dictated by a syllabus or curriculum. Let me write it down. Pay attention to this point, that the plural form of syllabus is syllabi. Okay, but we have syllabuses too, and it means curriculum, and the plural form of curriculum is curricula. Okay, these are some Latin based words that have exceptional pluralization patterns. So the student is encouraged to memorize. According to the syllabus, actually the students have to memorize. This is stupid. Examinations do not motivate a student to read widely, to have extensive reading, which is very important, extensive reading, but to restrict his reading, means limit. For example, instead of reading widely, according to the syllabus, the student has to read just one part, section, and memorize it. What is the use in that? They do not enable him, that is the student, to seek more and more knowledge, to be in search of knowledge or in pursuit of knowledge, but induce cramming. Induce means motivate or persuade, cramming. And what is cramming? Cramming is actually studying for a short period of time, particularly the night before the exam, in order to prepare yourself for that, and immediately after the exam actually you tend to forget everything. So this is a very ridiculous system of education. And in English we have two idioms for that: burn the candle at both ends, or burn the midnight oil. When you burn the candle at both ends or burn the midnight oil, it means that you study, particularly at night, very hard. You are under the pressure of stress, and that stress is so, let's say, painful and acute. For example, because you have an exam tomorrow. Okay. They lower the standards of teaching. Lower means decrease, opposite of raise as a verb. the standards or frame of reference of teaching, for they deprive the teacher of all freedom. They take away freedom from the teacher. Teachers, because actually the teacher should be compliant with the syllabus. Teachers themselves are often judged by examination results, and instead of teaching their subjects, they are reduced to training their students in exam techniques which they despise. Despise, it's a formal verb. It means to have low opinion about. It's to disapprove. Okay, so it means that actually the teachers have to teach something that they themselves disapprove of or disdain. Let me write it. And what is that? Some stupid examination techniques, for example, particularly multiple choice questions and objective tests, they teach the students how to perform well on them without developing any deep understanding. The most successful candidates are not always the best educated. That is true. Because actually they have been able to just understand how to perform well on the exams without developing, as I said, deep knowledge. They are the best trained, not educated, but trained in their technique of working under duress. It's by force, when they are forced. The result of which so much depends are often nothing more than a subjective measure assessment by some anonymous examiner. Subjective assessment as opposed to objective assessment. Subjective assessment or evaluation is a kind of evaluation in which usually actually it's not fair. For example, the examiner does not like your handwriting and he or she gives you a low mark or bad mark because of that, and they do not really review your logic, your, let's say, knowledge and skill. This is a kind of subjective assessment or evaluation by anonymous examiner. It means whose identity actually is not clear, nameless. Examiners are only human. They get tired and hungry, so it's clear. For example, that's why it is subjective. They make mistakes, yet they have to mark or evaluate stacks or piles or sets of hastily, means hurriedly, means let's say promptly scrawled, means written in a bad way. It's in a way that is not readable. Scripts refers to the evaluation, or let's say test papers in a limited amount of time. It means that some examiners again actually have to evaluate or make corrections or give scores to the pile of test papers that have been written poorly, and some of them actually are not readable. They work under the same sort of stress or pressure as the students have, as the candidates, and their word carries weight. Word here means the score that they give you, okay, and their word carries weight. It means does matter. It's very important, and they are influential. Actually, they can shape your destiny. After a judge's decision, you have the right of appeal. After a judge's decision, for example, in a court of law, you have this right to show to, for example, ask for reconsideration. Appeal means plea, P-L-E-A, or request, but not after an examiner's decision. That apostrophe refers to the possession of that of a decision. It means that if an examiner has given you a mark, you cannot just ask for reconsideration. It's up, it's done. There must surely be many simpler and more effective ways of assessing a person's true abilities. It means instead of examinations, there must be some other accurate and effective types or methods of evaluation except, let's say, traditional examinations. Is it cynical or pessimistic to suggest that examinations are merely a profitable business for the institutions that run them? It is a rhetorical question. As a matter of fact, it's not a question, it is just intended to emphasize something. The answer is clear. So it is cynical to suggest that examinations actually are just for the sake of, let's say, giving benefits and advantages to the administrations. It's a kind of lucrative or money-making business for the institutions that run them or administrate them. This is what it boils down to in the last analysis. Boils down to, it means actually it eventuates in, or it ends in, or results in, or it would be the byproduct or end result of that. The best comment on the system is the illiterate message recently scrawled on a wall. So this is a perfect conclusion. Please pay attention to this. An illiterate person message. It means a message written by an illiterate person. It means not educated well, not well educated. Recently scrawled or written in a poor form or shape on a wall, and it reads, "I were a teenage dropout." Pay attention to this quotation. This is sentence in quotation marks or inverted commas. I were a teenage dropout and now I are a teenage millionaire. Okay, this is a good conclusion. It says I were a teenage dropout, so I just quit and left school when I was a teenager. Okay, so I must be illiterate, or let's say not educated, uneducated. And now I are. Instead of saying I am, it says I are, because the person is illiterate, not educated, but a millionaire. So he is illiterate or uneducated, but he is a millionaire. It shows that actually education does not have anything to do with your financial independency. So you may be an illiterate person, but you are a millionaire. So anyway, let me see. I hope you enjoyed this advanced reading course. And let me show you some recently added posts on Instagram. This is wholesale, opposite of retail, visible, and some negotiations. A vapor and evaporate, and topic card for IELTS, and an IELTS essay question with complete. Actually, if you just visit my website, you can see the complete essay questions, complete, actually a full essay text, and also my corrections and explanations written by LELB students. There are over 90, not 19, but 90, it means right just below 100 essays that can help you. So just visit my website at lelb.net. Thank you very much for your attention, and take care.